So today we'll be getting into several new Bray Wyatt related topics, update on Naomi's story, what's going on with Roman Reigns, and much more. Let's start things off with Naomi's story and take a look at our two main WWE official characters. It's been several years since WWE has had on-screen general managers. They made the decision a few years ago to abandon that position, and we haven't had a general manager since. However, Adam Pearce would slowly start to become a more regular character on WWE television on behalf of the WWE management. Adam Pearce was never labeled as the official general manager, but that's basically what his role is. He's the unofficial general manager for WWE television. Adam Pearce handled things on his own until Sonya Deville returned as an official herself. Sonya returned as an assistant and was working under Adam Pearce, but it didn't take long for Sonya to become a pro, and she's now viewed as an equal to Adam Pearce. Some may even argue that her plan is to ultimately get rid of Adam Pearce altogether. But the problem here is that the WWE official characters of Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville are both sort of coming off as heels. Adam Pearce came out and suspended Brock Lesnar, and on top of that suspension, he also fined Brock Lesnar $1 million. That fine and suspension obviously made the fans boo Pearce and made him come off as a heel. But you can argue that he's simply doing what's fair. Sonya Deville is the one that's most definitely a heel, no questions asked. We saw another example of this week as her story with Naomi continued to progress. It was supposed to be Naomi versus Shayna Baszler one-on-one. Only issue was that there wasn't a referee in the ring. Sonya made the excuse that the referee scheduled to work the match was attacked by Brock Lesnar the week prior. So Sonya talks about how they need someone fair for the match and volunteers herself to be the referee. Obviously, given all the issues with Naomi, no one really expected Sonya to call the match down the middle, and that's exactly what went down. Sonya Deville does a quick count that unfairly cost Naomi the match. Even though it'll go down in the history books as a loss for Naomi, this match outcome really doesn't go against Naomi, since she was dealing with a quick count from Sonya Deville. Naomi was interviewed after the match and said that she'll be willing to face Sonya when she's ready, and how she'll be willing to face Shayna Baszler again as well. Obviously, this story will be continuing here between Naomi and Sonya. The most likely endgame here for this story would be Naomi getting her clean shot at Sonya Deville in an actual match. No games, no handicap matches, no special guest referees, just an ordinary match between Sonya Deville and Naomi. That's what it appears we're building towards. Naomi getting her revenge and pinning Sonya Deville cleanly will be a huge moment for Naomi to get some momentum going. But like we discussed a handful of times over the last few weeks, there's definitely a possibility for WWE to put some high stakes on the line here. Sonya doesn't want Naomi on SmackDown, and Naomi obviously doesn't want Sonya in power on SmackDown. So how could something be done here? Well, a position versus banishment match seems like a good choice. Naomi wins, Sonya Deville loses her WWE official position. Sonya wins, Naomi gets banished from SmackDown. So even with no title being on the line, this match still has a lot of potential to be high stakes. So we'll see how this story continues to unfold, but it does seem like Naomi will get her revenge when all is said and done. So everything Bloodline related this week took place without the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. It was a weird day leading up to SmackDown this week. WWE had nothing to advertise for the show besides a trick-or-treat tag team match. They did have a graphic of Roman Reigns as well, so many fans naturally assumed Roman would be on the show, but surprisingly, Roman was not on SmackDown at all. Roman Reigns went trending for his absence this week because it's very abnormal for him to miss SmackDown. Last time Roman missed SmackDown was a few months back, where he took a week off to allegedly speak with Jay and get him to return to SmackDown. So it was an absence with a storyline reason. It's still unclear what's the storyline reason for this absence. Were they just trying to sell the idea that he was injured from Brock? Was he off during something that he'll tell us about next week? Or did WWE simply have nothing for him to do? It's not anything medical related because Roman did come out for a dark match right after SmackDown went off air. So he was in the building, just strangely not a part of SmackDown. Who was a part of SmackDown was the rest of the Bloodline. Jimmy and Jay interrupted King Woods and Kofi Kingston and would go on to defeat them in a tag team match in the main event of SmackDown. Paul Heyman was also spotted paying close attention to everything that was happening with Brock Lesnar's fine and suspension. He was approached by Kayla Braxton, and Kayla tried to squeeze some Brock Lesnar information from Heyman, and he made a rare mistake of exposing himself. When asked about what would Brock Lesnar do after hearing about the suspension, Heyman snapped back into his old personality that he had back when he was the advocate for Brock Lesnar. Heyman started sticking his chest out and front-running about all the things Brock Lesnar would do to WWE. It really sounded like Heyman was still working with Lesnar there for a second, but he quickly catches himself and returns to his new persona and says that he just thinks that's what Brock Lesnar would do. So just a nice little backstage segment that keeps Paul Heyman's storyline of if he's still working with Brock Lesnar or not going. It's a brilliant side story because there's really no way of knowing what side Heyman is on, and it just always seems like he's hiding a bigger part of the puzzle. So it's just very hard to trust him at any given time. As far as Roman, he actually has nothing going on in this current moment. Obviously, we know that he will be facing Big E at Survivor Series, but as far as having a #1 contender or someone he's at least feuding with on SmackDown, he's got no one right now. Drew McIntyre is getting built up as a big deal on SmackDown, so it's possible that they turn to Drew as the next challenger because no one else is as big of a threat to Roman than Drew. So maybe that's the next feud, but we'll see how that unfolds. It was a report that came out a handful of times, but allegedly WWE wanted to bring the Firefly Funhouse puppets to life and be played by actual real superstars. Well, artist Kyle A. Scarborough recently revealed the old rumor was in fact true. He had this to say on Twitter, quote, "Fun fact, the WWE wanted to bring the Firefly Funhouse alive, but Windham would only do it if he played the characters himself. Only one was mocked up, and this would have been the concept for FFH Huskus. It was hinted, but ultimately shelved." End quote. So it looks like Bray was approached with the idea from WWE, but turned it down unless he was the one that got to portray each and every puppet coming to life. Which you can understand. These characters are close to Bray. He probably didn't want WWE picking someone out to play the role and making a mockery of his characters. So he laid down the law and said that it was only happening if he was the one to portray the live version of the puppets. Kyle revealed that the first one that they were working on was for Huskus the pig. Kyle revealed some concept art for a Huskus mask that Bray would have worn if this idea was approved, but like he said, everything ended up being scrapped. But it's still interesting to know the entire bringing the puppets to life report that has been circulating for a while now was actually true, but was scrapped along the way. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys!